Hola chicos, it's really late at night and I'm tired. I'm gonna try to keep this short. Um, I wanted to go ahead and make a recording so that I could go over with you what the key objectives were. Um, and because you have a guest teacher today who's not a Spanish teacher, um, this person can definitely oversee the class and make sure that you're on task, and they will make a note of any behavior that's inappropriate, and they'll make sure to let me know if you're staying focused. Um, so just keep in mind the objectives that I mentioned and really focus on those, and focus on not being around people who will distract you or who will cause you to get your name written down. So make the right choice. If you need to move right now, now's the time. But make sure you stay focused. So I'm going to go over objectives with you that I want you to be able to fulfill during this class period. And then I'm going to go over numbers 0 through 20. So you want to feel pretty confident with those. Write down the ones that you don't already have. Practice a little bit with pronunciation so you can say the numbers after I've said them. And then we're going to get into classroom objects. So 0 through 20, and then again, as we got started with yesterday, asking for someone's number and then giving a phone number, and getting into classroom objects. And so we'll get into things like how much objects cost or how many of something you need, etc. But for today, it's really those numbers, ask for and give your number, and then the classroom objects. So take notes on all of these things, and you can do it electronically. You can kind of make the video small and then have another spot open in your screen where you're just taking notes, or you can take notes on paper as well. But make sure you have all this info. Once I kind of get through the content here, I'm going to give you some activities to work on just for the duration of class, so that you'll be ready for tomorrow with the activities that we have planned. So, moving right into numbers, empezamos con 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The question, ¿cuál es tu número? And the reply to that is mi número es, and then you will just say each digit. So 402, 853, 9715. And when you practice that again, you can use a fake number, but you just want to be able to confidently say a number back. 11. Make sure you know how to spell this correctly and say it correctly. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The word quinceañera is under that, which is the coming of age ceremony for 15-year-old girls in certain parts of the Spanish-speaking world, primarily Mexico and other Latin American countries. 16, 17. Notice the way these are spelled is they're spelled as all one word, but what you're saying is 10 and 6, 10 and 7, 10 and 8, etc. So you should see that trend. You will sometimes see them written out as the word diez with a Z, the word y, which is just the letter Y, meaning and then just the word seis. So it's possible to see them written out that way. They sound exactly the same either way, but just be aware of this spelling. That's usually how you'll see these teens written out. 17, 18, 19, 20. So not until next week are we going to worry about 21 through 100. So at this point in time, you want to confidently be able to do 0 through 20. Bien? Bien. Make sure you're paying attention to E's and I's. So 20 would be an example of that. We have E, I. Make sure that you're not writing it IE. That would be veinte, but it's veinte. So make sure you're hearing the difference and you're seeing how they're spelled out. So EIs, IEs tend to be the most problematic. So really pay attention to those. Make sure you're writing them out to help yourself remember. Bien. Okay. Objetos de la sala de clase. And we're just going to start working our way through these. Make sure you write them down. And again, you can say the word after I've said it, just as a little bit of practice. A pen is un bolígrafo, bolígrafo. In the Latin American world, you're more often going to hear the word pluma, pluma. They're both correct. They both mean pen. Un lápiz, lápiz. Plural is lápices, so notice the Z goes to a C. That's going to be a common thing that you see in lots of words, Z's changing to C's in certain contexts. So lápiz, lápices. Un cuaderno, cuaderno, here to see your notebook. Una computadora. In Spain they say ordenador, but if you use computadora, you'll be understood anywhere. Una carpeta, carpeta, here is your folder. Cuánto cuesta, we will talk about more later, but cuánto cuesta means how much does it cost. So if I follow that with a noun, I'm asking how much that particular item costs. So cuánto cuesta el cuaderno, how much does the notebook cost? Cuesta $1. It costs $1. So cuesta means it costs, or how much does it cost? So that phrase will be useful for you to know. Cuánto cuesta, and then cuesta is your answer. Cuesta, and then the amount. Una hoja de papel. Una hoja de papel. La pizarra. La pizarra, here is here the board. So the background is already a chalkboard. So pizarra is a chalkboard or a whiteboard. El profesor, here is your teacher, and I'm talking about a male teacher. Este es Señor White. I don't know what's going on with the hair, but it's a male teacher. La profesora, female teacher. So this is Senora Black, who teaches Spanish 2, and she teaches Latin. El escritorio, here is your desk. You can use this phrase or this word necesito. Necesito quiere decir I need. So, profesor, necesito un lápiz, por favor. Teacher, I need a pencil, please. So this is something you can use right away. Next time you have me in class, if you want to ask for something like a pencil or a paper or what have you, profesora, necesito, and then whatever it is you need. Sí, claro, yes, of course. So hopefully I'll be that nice when I respond, depending on what it is you're asking for. La mochila, here is your backpack. El sacapuntas, here is your pencil sharpener. El estudiante, here is your student. If it's a female student, the word is still estudiante. It would just be la estudiante is the only thing that changes that article. La estudiante. Plural, los estudiantes, the students. La puerta, here's your door. El pupitre, here's your desk, student desk. Notice this looks, at least shares a Latin root with the word pupil. Pupil is another word for student, so this is where a student sits. Escritorio typically is used for the teacher desk, pupitre used for student desk, but there's some interchange. So escritorio is usually the word I use even for student desks. And the Latin root you see there maybe is escribir, which means to write or scribe, English word. So it's a place where you write. Las ventanas quiere decir windows. We don't have those in the Spanish one room, unfortunately. Las ventanas. El proyector quiere decir projector. La basura quiere decir garbage. El libro quiere decir book, so library, place with books. ¿Cuántos hay is a phrase asking how many are there. ¿Cuántos, remember, was how many from the previous section that we did, the previous quiz. Hay, this is a really important word, and one of your objectives for this little unit is knowing that I means there are, so being able to use I appropriately. Es la clase. Una profesora y unos estudiantes. La silla quiere decir chair. Y el reloj quiere decir clock. Reloj quiere decir clock. So you are responsible for learning these words and knowing them. All of this stuff is available on Blackboard, so you can access this PowerPoint presentation and other materials as well. So be aware of that. And what I want you to do at this point is get into some practice activities. So if you go into your Blackboard, granted I have teacher view, but you'll be able to find the stuff that I'm mentioning. So if you go to Spanish 1, you have Unit 1, the basics. And then you have numbers and classroom items, which is where we are. If you get into vocabulario, you have these PowerPoint presentations that you can go through, or these keynotes. You have Quizlet 1 through 20, which I do recommend practicing, but where I would focus probably today, since we're just getting started with classroom objects, is to get yourself some more repetition with those. So once you get into Quizlet for classroom objects, I want you to go to Learn. And it's really up to you. The easier way to start is going to be to start with Spanish and go to English. If you do that and you find it's really easy, you can start with English and then you have to come up with a Spanish word. Again, it's more challenging. So, el estudiante, I'm going to write the student. I'm going to see what it does because it's particular. So, what it wanted was for me to say male student because la estudiante is a female student. But I knew the word meant student, so if this happens, you can say override and say you got it right. You can kind of contest that it counted it wrong. So just be aware of that. La hoja de papel, same kind of thing. I would call this sheet of paper. It called it a piece of paper. Same deal. I was right. I'm just saying it slightly differently. A proyector is a projector. Got that one right. And just continue doing it until you're through all of them. Now, if you get some wrong, like if for lápiz, instead of writing pencil, I write pen, I'm going to get that wrong. So I need to continue. And then at the end of it, once I've been through all of them, it's going to give me a percentage. And so if I got like 90% of them right, what you want to do is to press any key to continue and then just keep going. And it's going to let you keep going until you get 100%. And when you get there, what I want you to do is take a screen capture. And you don't need to post it anywhere, but I want you to go Option Shift 4. Oh, it's making me type it in there. Command Shift 4. I keep doing that. I'm tired. Go to Command Shift 4, and then you'll get these little crosshairs. You've probably done this a million times. Save it for tomorrow.